A very warm welcome indeed to Plume Park here on the Central Coast for round 14 of the Football New South Wales League One women's competition. It is match of the round time. It is the Central Coast Mariners playing host to SD Raiders. It's Pete Pryor with you on the call this week. An absolute pleasure to have your company. What is, I'm certain to be, an absolute blockbuster clash between second and third on the table. So much to play for. The Mariners come into this one off the back of some pretty good form themselves, of course. A bit of a shorter turnaround for the hosts this week, as they were down in Marconi on Wednesday night, securing all 3 points in a 2-1 victory on the night. Further flexing their finals tilt, or muscle I should say. Speaking of flexing some muscles, SD Raiders coming into this one off the back of a scintillating 7-0 victory themselves last weekend over Blacktown Spartans, of course. The team news is in, a bit of it to get through, so let's take you through the lineups ahead of kickoff here at Plume Park. Starting for the hosts, of course, the Central Coast Mariners. In goal, number 1, Kiara O'Brien. The 2 is Jess Garrett. 3, Tegan Jones. 4, Jordan Drysdale. 6, Peyton Scollate. 7, Matilda Gallagher. 11, Claire Denning. 13, Annalise Brewster. 19, Ava Moller. And 35, Montana Rose Curry. 37, rounding out the starting 11, is Ruth Hosey. For the travelling SD Raiders this afternoon, in goal, of course, number 1, Natasha Pentecost, who is listed as one of 2 captains on tonight's team sheet. 2, Sharina Harris. 4, Mia Mastoris. 5, Amanda Radmilo. 6, Jess Neville, the other captain on tonight's team sheet. 7, Abigail Bogue. 8, Lane Knight. 10, Tayana Almeida. 14, Sarah Mandile. 18, Maddie Malone. And 35, Tennille Hay. Officials just synchronising their watches as we prepare to get underway for match of the round here on the coast. Whistle blows and away we go here in round 14. The Mariners getting us underway, kicking from left to right on your screens, immediately nodded on by Denning. Drysdale immediately hemmed in by Bogue. Emerging with it is Brewster. Just a bit of miscommunication perhaps between Drysdale and Denning as the ball rolls into touch on this near touch line. As we said atop the broadcast, well, we'll come back to that in just a minute as Mandile able to clip it out towards Almeida. It's going to come straight back in as well. O'Brien happy to watch that sail over the crossbar, but it's taken a touch on the way through. And an early corner inside a minute or so here at Plume Park for SD Raiders. As we said, a match certainly befitting of match of the round status, second v third, as we said atop the broadcast, and so important for both these sides, not only in their push for finals, but potentially their push for promotion as well. Corner driven in flat, repelled initially, and the strike will come back in. It's Almeida who's offside. The ball came back in from Mastoris. Thought she may have been going direct for goal, but it's a handy ball for Almeida as it turned out, but the number 10 had stayed in an offside position. Now cut out right in front of us here by Radmilo. Brewster getting stuck in as she so often wants to do. Now Jess Garrett, that's a handy looking ball as well to find a pocket of space on the far touchline and bursting into the area. Decent save down low from Pentecost. Matilda Gallagher, who was able to free her feet and get the strike away. Gallagher, of course, the hero midweek against Marconi in that 2-1 victory for the Mariners, scoring what ultimately proved to be the winner. promising young talent is Matilda Gallagher. This should roll all the way through to Kiara O'Brien, and does. Almeida twisting and turning and finding support in Radmilo. Has her pocket pinched by Jess Garrett, but it pops out kindly for Bogue. Towards Tennille Hay now. Couldn't quite bring it under her spell, and the Mariners look to send it forward almost immediately. It's Moller. Moller wanted it back. The square ball seemed like the easier option, but the Mariners looking to display a bit more verticality and thrust going forward. Only succeeding, running out of real estate on the far touchline though. Just a throw for SD Raiders. Malone. Come out here for Knight. Lane Knight thought about playing to Bogue. Bogue will eventually pick it up and try and slalom through a couple of challenges. It's a very handy looking challenge though from Jess Garrett, who emerges with it now. She'll get the return pass as well, Garrett. Has support behind in Drysdale. And will use her, but Almeida steals in. May have been Mandile actually that stole in there, but in any case, now Neville. Trying to fashion something in the wide area. Mandile now. Little layoff as well. It's a good-looking sliding challenge, that, you know. Fancy that was Montana Rose Curry. Having a good season at the heart of defence alongside Ruth Hosey. Tough tackling centre half. Foot race here. Comfortably picked out by Radmilo, but she's unable to link up with Bogue into touch on this near touch line under the pressure of Denning and Drysdale. Drysdale will hoist it back into play. Lane Knight, and across the back it goes once more for the Raiders with Neville. Little layoff from Hay. Couldn't quite stick the pass though. Garrett now for the Mariners. Looking to show off her range of passing, which isn't bad, and it's given Pentecost something to think about. Smartly and sharply off her lane to diffuse the danger there, Natasha Pentecost. Mentioned these two sides charge for potential finals football. Still a lot of football to be played before we come down to that sort of pointy end of the season, really. But also, both sides will be very keen to keep the pressure on Hills United atop the table. Of course, the Mariners ended Hills' unbeaten run just a couple of weeks ago in match of the round here at Plume Park. Very professional performance from the hosts on that occasion. Got a couple of games in hand as well. Victory for the Mariners tonight would see them remain in third place. They are currently, as it stands, 5 points behind the Raiders, but as we said, with that game in hand, and 2 games in hand, in fact, over Hills United. Meanwhile, victory for the Raiders would see them equal Hills United and perhaps even go ahead of them pending Hills United results later this evening. We'll see if we can get any updates from our reporters on the goings on in that one there as well. Implications all over the table as Garrett swings the right boot at it. No real sort of direction on the clearance though, and holds her head in her hands momentarily. It will be another Raiders corner and a chance to launch another raid on the Mariners goal. Corner swung out towards the penalty spot. It's Tennille Hay with the audacious attempted first-time volley. They're spectacular when they come off. Just sliced through it, though, did Tennille Hay. They'll get the chance to go back and reload and recycle here, Raiders. Neville playing one forward to Harris. Now it's worked into the area, and it's a very smart take, plucked out of the sky there by Kiara O'Brien. And a quick release as well for Denning, who has her legs taken away on the way through. She is electric. Claire Denning, tough to deal with at the best of times. That attack halted in a reasonably agricultural way. Launched into the area by Rose Curry, Montana Rose Curry. Repelled initially. Harris will go all the way back to her goalkeeper here in Pentecost, and now out with Neville. Apologies, that's Lane Knight, of course, not Neville. This is Neville. Towards Harris, picked out smartly, but it will fall kindly for Almeida, and that's a handy-looking ball over the top for Mandalay. O'Brien will get there first, and the Mariners play their way through the first line of the press to great effect, and just about playing their way through the second line of the press as well. Halted by Maddie Malone, though. Perhaps only momentarily. Brewster looked to slalom her way through centrally. Little shove in the back there from Almeida, spotted by the referee, so for the free kick for Montana Rose Curry. Clipped forward again. Denning was looking to run in behind. Little layoff is handy from Moller to Garrett, and now Garrett has spotted Denning, who had plenty of green grass around her, but the ball was just a little too far ahead of Claire Denning. She's quick, but not quite that quick. Jess Garrett, again, looking to play the role of architect. She does have such an impressive range of passing from the heart of midfield, the Mariners' number 2. Carried forward by Lane Knight, then Neville. She'll have it back too. Raiders just inviting the press of the Mariners. They haven't taken the bait. It's Bogue, though. Skips around Drysdale initially, and it's a smart challenge from Brewster initially. Harris gets the second ball, feeding off the scraps there. Lane Knight now back on halfway. Oh, she's left it short. Smart looking pressing there as well from the Mariners. SD Raiders survive just about. Lane Knight, the more assured sort of pass forward that time. Scolle and Moller just blocking off the central passing lanes initially. Gallagher giving chase wide. It will eventually, well, no, it won't roll behind. In fact, we're sort of waiting here to see if the ball would be shepherded behind, but didn't quite have the legs. Now, centrally is Knight. Assessing the options in front. Opts just to go square in the end lane. Knight for Neville. Driven forward centrally. Doesn't quite fall for Radmillo. Does for Harris, though, who's able to swing it wide. Crossing opportunity here for the Raiders. Well, not for long. Blocked off to great effect, and now the Mariners want to transition rapidly here. Garrett spotted the run of Denning on this near touchline, and that's a very handy ball indeed from Garrett to put it Denning in a foot race with Lane Knight. Lane Knight was just about always favourite to reach it. Did have a fair old head start, but that's the kind of danger that Claire Denning provides so much running in behind. Drysdale hoists it back into play. Denning will return it to Drysdale, who will take a touch to assess the cross and second touch to deliver. Pentecost watched it all the way. If you're just joining us here on the Football New South Wales channels, pleasure to have your company. Pete Pryor with you for match of the round, of course. It's 13, 14 minutes gone here at Plume Park. Still goalless between the Mariners and the Raiders so far in this one. Both sides just feeling each other out in the opening exchanges here. Drysdale, a little layoff for Denning, who's been dangerous. Slide rule pass towards Peyton Scollay. Who's another absolute weapon in attack for the Mariners, of course, Scollay. She was, of course, the hero in the last match of the round for the Mariners against Hills United, as we said, ending Hills United's undefeated streak. A brace for Peyton Scollay on the night. Thoroughly enjoyable performance. Could she be the one to unlock this staunch defence so far? It's Ava Moller, though, racing onto the end of this one. Scollay's arriving in the middle. It's spilt by Pentecost, laid off for Scollay. Well, Natasha Pentecost stood firm. That's the first big chance of the match going the way of the Mariners. Peyton Scollay driving it at the Raiders goalkeeper. First shot on target of the match, though. Meanwhile, up the other end we go with Radmilo. Raiders looking to transition rapidly. Little layoff out towards Almeida now. Central, it goes for Hay. All the avenues in front of Tennille Hay blocked off. Harris has her heels clipped. Referee uninterested. Almeida stretching to bring it under her spell. Does well as well. She'll have it back, Almeida, and then drive one forward towards Bogue. Could remain central. Again, Mariners so well organised and well drilled, just blocking off all the channels. Not allowing any way through so far for the Raiders. Lane Knight to reload through Neville. Handy ball there as well from Neville to find Mandalay, who's a handful at the best of times. Drifting around everywhere, buzzing, I should say, between the lines. Always busy. Mariners repel another one, but it's only cleared as far as Mandalay. Now Brewster and Garrett. Clearance completed in the end. No one really chasing, though, from the Mariners. They don't want to overcommit going forward, of course. Happy to just absorb the pressure for now. We know how dangerous they are on the counter, though. Handball spotted by the official in the middle. Ava Moller, the guilty party, leaving the scene of the crime quite quickly. Raiders eager to get on with it. Momentum in their favour at the moment, it's fair to say. Without having created all too much on the Mariners' goal in terms of clear-cut chances. strike almost out of nothing from Abigail Bogue there. And that just goes to show how effective the Mariners have been at closing down all the channels, all the passing lanes occupied and blocked off. Abigail Bogue with, well, it's fair to say, a fairly speculative attempt from all of about 30 yards. Frustrating the Raiders so far are the Mariners. It's Radmilo forced to go backwards to Knights, and now look to stretch the pitch here with Bogue. No avenues available in front, so just back to reload through Knights and Neville. And then Mia Mastoris just rolled under her foot in the end. Maybe just took her eye off it at the last second. Giving possession back to the hosts. Denning putting some pressure on Knight here, just keeping her honest, and Knight's clearance out to this near touch line will find Radmilo, but she's immediately hemmed back and penned back by Drysdale, who's done ever so well to win the throw as well, in spite of the protest from Radmilo. Drysdale gets us back underway. Brewster, Drysdale again now. Into the sort of half space it went. It will fall kindly for Denning, who will clip it into the area. Pentecost should get there well. Peyton Scollay lurking with real dangerous intent. Keeping Pentecost very honest indeed. I'll tell you what, another day might have just held up another fraction of a second longer. This Scollay, who's come the closest so far to breaking the deadlock. Still goalless here at Plume Park though. Bogue finding a teammate centrally, weaving wide now with Almeida, and just running out of real estate. Was really fizzed at the feet of Almeida there, the ball from Radmilo. First touch looked good, able to trap it, but again it's the pressure from Drysdale. Forced her into touch, and good feet here from Drysdale as well to link up with Moller. Moller surrounded by three green shirts. There's perhaps one too many. Radmilo will have it back for the Raiders, and now Knight, Neville, as they do so often, just playing across that back for the Raiders. Again, it's Knight. This time she'll look to carry it forward and take the space offered to her before it closed in around her. Now Bogue, I should say. Dropping in here is Malone. Worked out by Neville, and now underlapping is Harris. Does well to find a teammate as well, but the cross is blocked off at the expense of another Raiders corner. Corner count certainly favouring the Travellers this afternoon. SD Raiders, of course. A chance to create some havoc here, potentially. Floated in towards the near post. Rising was Tennille Hay. Didn't really get the power behind it required to really test Kiara O'Brien. Kiara O'Brien urged to get on with it by the referee. Does so at the second time of asking. Moller couldn't quite bring it under her spell, so Raiders will have it back. This near touch line is Knight. A couple of touches to bring it forward initially before playing one into the half space for Sarah Mandalay. Supporting is Bogue. Mandalay, final touch off Drysdale. It's a good touch indeed to halt the attack, but chance for a long throw perhaps here for Lane Knight. Numbers behind the ball for the Mariners. As Knight hoists it in towards the edge of the area. Almeida twisting and turning and trying to fashion an opening. Well, the referee just paused to consider for a moment. Final touch certainly did look like it came off the Mariners, so yet another corner here for SD Raiders. So far in this one have been frustrated by the hosts. Yeah, high level of organisation, full credit must go, not just to the players of course, but the coaching staff. Greg Harch, the new man in the dugout for 2025. A false start on the corner. Referee just coming over to check something, ensuring the ball is placed just so within the arc, in the corner quadrant. Of course, some part of the ball must at least be overlapping some part of the line. Hard to tell from our vantage point here. It did, well, looking at the replay, yes, it did certainly look a fair way out. So, take two on the corner, swinging in, oh so dangerously repelled as far as Hay, who will nod it forwards, and it's a fairly regulation take in the end for Kiara O'Brien, but they're knocking on the door. Here are the Raiders. Brewster just stretching to try and keep it in play. A little too far ahead of her and running away in the end. Hoisted in once more by Knight. Twisting and turning is Bogue, and then supporting is Maddie Malone. Now Almeida. Back to goal, and well, Jess Garrett, good piece of strength in defending. Not allowing Almeida to turn. Perhaps aware of the danger the Raiders number 10 possesses. And her creativity, talismanic number 10 of course. Neville will work it across the back once again, the Raiders. Storis will have it back as well. Had Harris supporting, but it's a good looking ball into the central area to find Bogue initially. Again, was surrounded by 2 or 3 Mariners defenders immediately. Mariners able to clear, and then Claire Denning herring after it. Lane Knight winning the throw. Here's Moller. Good strength again from Ava Moller. Even better strength there in the centre of the park. Moller will drop in to receive it once again. Garrett now. Drysdale. Denning's moving forward on this near touch line and wants it. Cleared out for yet another throw on the near touch line. Drysdale across to take. Urging for movement from her teammates. Hoisted back into the area. Almeida will steal it initially. Raiders happy to just go back and allow themselves to reload, which also allows the Mariners to get their shape back here as well, as evidenced by that pick out there, and Garrett emerging with it, looking to release Gallagher on the far touch line. Dealt with just about by Neville. Neville and Knight now. The two centre halves have had an infinitesimal amount of touches on the ball already in this one, and we're not even half an hour into it. I should say an almost infinite amount of touches on the ball, of course. So much of the Raiders' play focus is on building out from the back, and carrying it forward now is Bogue. Handy looking ball as well to find Mandile, who initially skips around the first challenge from Montana Rose Curry, but outstanding recovering defence there from the Mariners 35, Montana Rose Curry. Never giving up on that one, and she would be well counselled. Sarah Mandile, of course, such a danger in attack for the Raiders. Just 2 goals so far across all competitions for Mandile. Did score last time these two sides met as well, back in round 1. As this one is swung into the near post, O'Brien, well, that's a good piece of goalkeeping in all fairness. To claim that in a crowded, massive bodies as well. Across the back it goes for Mastoris. Almeida, who again has been busy all evening, buzzing around everywhere, and it's an intelligent pick out here from Garrett, who pauses and assesses the options. And it's a good ball to pick out Denning, who has Drysdale underlapping. Denning still carrying it forwards. Bogue not diving in, just delaying and delaying long enough. We did mention last time these two sides met, of course, Mandalay. It was who opened the scoring, in fact, though, so early in that one. It's Bogue carrying it forwards. Mandalay had made the move centrally, but the ball was left behind Hay. Now Gallagher keeping Mastoris very honest indeed. Tenacious work from Matilda Gallagher. SD Raiders, though, calm, composed, and looking to play their way out once again. Bogue felt the pressure of Drysdale, just going back with Knight and Neville. Then Harris will work it out for Mastoris. Malone sliding in and popping out kindly here for Moller. Again, it's Scolle moving through the middle. Little give and go as well with Moller, who was onside. Driven into the area and initially repelled by Radmilo. Chances few and far between in this one. Both sides so well set up, so well organised. Denning wanted it on this near touch line and just going to race forward to keep Pentecost honest. He's always going to roll through to the SD Raiders goalkeeper in the end. Well, we said, of course, Mandalay opened the scoring last time these two sides met, but it was the Mariners who would go on, march on to victory, in fact, in that round one encounter. It's a 3-2 victory for the Coast on that occasion, after finding themselves 2-0 down after just half an hour as well. O'Driscoll and Familton not in the starting 11 today for the Coast. But of course, Peyton Scolle scoring the third and what proved ultimately to be the winner back in round one. He's been so far the closest the Coast have come to breaking the deadlock, or the closest either side have come, and well, applying the press there as well. Peyton Scolle keeping Neville honest. And ball forward was intended for Hay, but it was sort of between Hay and Mandalay, all the way through to Kiara O'Brien and the Mariners' goal in the end. Jess Garrett, good feet again from Garrett to skip away from Almeida. Thoroughly impressed by Jess Garrett as well throughout the course of this season. Just brings such a calming presence in the centre of the park for the Mariners. She's unable to retain it there though, and out into touch on the far touchline. Mastoris will hoist it back in. Now, I think that's Hay. That corner. Another throw in though for the Raiders, another chance to hoist it into the area perhaps. You see Mandalay lurking around the penalty spots. Bogue as well on the edge of the area. Mandalay now looking to steal a march on the Mariners' defence. They're aware to it, alert to it, and alive to it. Getting body position there ahead of Sarah Mandalay and affecting the clearance as well. Good communication you can see as well between that Mariners back four. Hosey and Montana Rose Curry. ensuring that no one's left free, and forcing the Raiders back once again to halfway. Lane Knight now will carry it forward again, taking the space offered. And again, the ball into the channel, blocked off. And again, it's a rapid-looking counter-attack here from the Mariners, looking to be so quick in transition on the far touchline. Gallagher, oh, that's great footwork to beat 1 and 2. And now it pops out for Moller. Doesn't quite get the shot away. Garrett might. Has to dance around a couple before it's taken away by Almeida. A chance maybe breaking down. Brewster not giving up on it though. The Mariners winning it back. Drysdale. And now Denning measuring the cross. It's low, it's flat, and it's cleared. Initially, only as far as Denning once again. Good piece of defending there from Bogue. Tracking back, not shirking her defensive duties. Getting involved when her team certainly needed her to. Mariners looking so fluid when they do get forward in transition. Garrett again getting body position on Almeida to cut it out. I'll get a chance to launch it forward, and it's a good piece of defending from Hosey to get there ahead of Mandalay. It will pop out here for Hay, who's being really well marshalled here, it must be said, by the Mariners defender. Harris! Oh, it's not far away, you know. Again, something out of nearly nothing. It looked like the chance had just about disappeared for the Raiders. Sharina Harris, that would have been spectacular in a certainly fitting way to open the scoring. But as it remains, 35 or so gone here at Plume Park, still deadlocked. And this match of the rounds, getting a look at the replay, well, Kiara O'Brien flying across to ensure, I'm not sure she had it covered, you know. Now O'Brien's ball forwards, only finding Bogue, who again is blocked off by Drysdale. Part of that defensive quartet that's been so effective so far this evening for the Mariners, restricting the Raiders to only a couple of shots from range. Now Moller making a nuisance of herself on halfway. Almeida, that's a good-looking turn to escape the attention of Garrett. Ball is cut out once again. Guess who? It's Jordan Drysdale. Now Moller, Denning hugging the near touchline. Couple of touches to stride forward and a handy-looking slide rule ball towards Scollay. Scollay. Oh, she's done ever so well, Peyton Scollay. Scollay curling it towards the back post, and arriving late was Gallagher. I'll tell you what, they're knocking on the door here, the Coast. Is it only a matter of time before they burst it down? Peyton Scollay, again, causing absolute havoc inside the 18-yard box. Matilda Gallagher just a matter of centimetres away. Oh, I'm getting a look at the replay now. It nearly even brushed off her studs, you know. Fascinating battle, this, between second and third in the League One women's competition. Match certainly befitting of match of the round status, as we said. And the performance from both sides living up to expectations, that's for sure. No goals to show for it, but no shortage of entertainment and fascination and spectacle around this one indeed. Two sides who will certainly be there or thereabouts at the pointy end of the season. Certainly in the finals equation. Almeida now. Again into the channel it goes, and again Montana Rose Curry across first. The Mariners will even win the throw out of that. Drysdale being urged to get on with it by the referee. It's SD Raiders' turn to mark all the space and all the options. Bit of a scrap in the centre of the park before Malone emerges with it. Flag is up though on the far touchline. Looked like Sarah Mandalay straying offside there, not tracking back. Mariners defenders again so well organised and stepping up in unison. Hoisted forwards once again into the evening sky. It will fall for Radmilo though. Almeida, first time pass to find Knight. And again, picked out. Combination of Drysdale and Montana Rose Curry. Gallagher coming forward on the far touchline to keep Mastoris honest, and Mastoris forced to go back and recycle. Once again, the Raiders continuing their usual modus operandi of playing out from the back and beat the first line of the Mariners' two banks, and now it's Bogue carrying it forward. Drysdale's racing back. Bogue, effective defending from Drysdale. Didn't dive in, just delayed, and then Bogue tried to turn back and cut back inside. Drysdale seized the opportunity, kept it from going behind for a corner as well, but Bogue now will swing across into the back post. Rising was Hay. And O'Brien first to it. Gallagher, V. Mastoris on the far touchline. Brewster getting in on the act now. Again, it's that quick transition from the Mariners, perhaps proving so effective here. Gallagher and then Moller. Gallagher will get the return pass, and, well, now she will just wait for support, which does arrive in Brewster, who has her shirt pulled on the way through. The Mariners will have another free kick. The Raiders certainly leading the corner count. The Mariners would be ahead in terms of free kicks, but neither side's ahead on the scoreboard, which is the only thing that really counts at the end of the day. Into the final 5 minutes of the first stanza here at Plume. Plenty of movements inside the area. It's hoisted high, and initially the clearance miscued, but they're able to deal with it in a roundabout sort of way. And now it's Hay. Raiders looking to create a quick counter of their own. Mandalay, who is delayed and forced to hold it up and wait for support. Now, Maddie Malone, pocket picked by Garrett once again. And a good-looking ball here for Peyton Scollay. Wants to isolate her defender, and to be fair to Lane Knight, again, a very good piece of defending indeed from the Raiders' number 8. Throw to be hoisted back in by Drysdale, right in front of our broadcast position here. Sharina Harris for the Raiders. Once again, across the back it goes. Trying to move the Mariners from side to side, trying to find spaces which so far in this one are not appearing. Bogue dropping in. Drysdale striding forward to keep the winger pen back as well. Garrett ricochets off her head. Falls for Almeida, and it will be watched all the way back to Kiara O'Brien by Montana Rose Curry, who will launch it forward as well. Knotted down by Malone. Now, Radmilo. And then the strike will come at the end of it, and again, it's Sarah Mandalay. But again, it's another strike from outside of the area. I don't think SD Raiders have been able to get a shot away from inside the Mariners penalty box so far in the opening 43 or so minutes here at Plume. Restricted and boxed out. Restricted to nothing from inside that 20 or so yards. Frustrated so far in this one. But it only takes a moment as Ruth Hosey will clip it forward towards halfway. Ava Moller will pick the pockets as well, and now look to release Gallagher on the far touchline. A couple arriving in the middle as well. Looked like she perhaps went the direct route. Denning was racing into the area, making the late run from the wing. Scollay again lurking with more danger. Pentecost gets us back underway. Malone. Back with Neville. Wide it will go. Mastoris. Once again, inviting that press. The Mariners not taking the bait, just keeping their shape. Scollay inviting Knight forwards. She'll swing it wide to the far touchline. Mastoris. Into the channel it goes for Maddie Malone. Striding forward here, Malone. Thought about the shot perhaps, but a good-looking reverse pass will pop out for Bogue, who will fire another one from the edge of the area, and it will take a touch on the way through, and it will be yet another corner for SD Raiders. Into the final minutes of regulation time of the first half. I can't imagine there'd be too much time added on after this one. Very few, if any, stoppages, really. A couple of free kicks, no bookings so far. Plenty of corners, though. And here's another one to be swung away towards the penalty spot and headed behind once again. Another corner for the Raiders. Finishing the half with a flurry of set pieces here. Lane Nice across to take. He said has been so heavily involved in everything SD Raiders have tried to construct so far. Could she be the architect of the Mariners' demise here as it swung in high and deep? Racing forward was Denning to block the shot off. Garrett will try and dig it out, and she's done ever so well as well to free her feet and maybe link up with Scollay here. Mastoris stepping forward to great effect. She had to as well. The Raiders perhaps with one last foray forward. Well, not if Montana Rose Courier has anything to say about it. Neville. Lane Knight now. Knight's continued her forward run. It will be swung out towards Radmilo. Again, well kept in play by Radmilo. Bogue supporting. Excellent bit of defending once again, and Denning will emerge with it, and that will be that for the first stanza here at Plume Park. Match of the round for round 14 between the Central Coast Mariners and SD Raiders in the League One women's competition. Still deadlocks here, but no shortage of action. Of course, Peyton Scollay has come the closest to breaking the deadlock on a couple of occasions. But as it stands at the interval, it is the Central Coast Mariners nil, SD Raiders nil. Don't go anywhere. 45 minutes of football to come to see if we can find a winner here at Plume tonight. We'll be back with you shortly. A very warm welcome indeed back to Plume Park here on the Central Coast for round 14 of the Football New South Wales League One Women's Match of the Round. Scoreless at the interval between the Central Coast Mariners and SD Raiders. No shortage of entertainment though, and 45 minutes of action to come to see if we can find a winner here. You'll see on the stats on your screen just a moment ago, SD Raiders with the majority of the shots, 6 in total, just a 1 on target. The Mariners with 3 shots of their own, all 3 on target. The Raiders, though, the vast majority of those shots, just about all of them, in fact, coming from outside the area, as the Mariners have been so well drilled, so organised, and the 2 sixes here in Scollay and Neville tussling for it, and it's a free kick in favour of the Raiders. Doesn't look like any changes at the interval. We'll try and bring you confirmation on that in just a moment. As Bogue couldn't get around the outside of Drysdale, and the Mariners emerge with it, and it's a handy-looking slide rule pass that towards Gallagher. Pentecost was alert to it. The flag's up in any case on the far touchline. It looks like Matilda Gallagher may have gone early, and the referee has now spotted the assistant's offside flag on the far touchline. Did so without even turning around. Eyes in the back of his head, perhaps. I suppose as a referee you do have to have eyes in the back of your head at the best of times. Neville, across the back it goes for Knight. As we said in the first half, those two at the centre of just about everything going forward. And going forward into the area here is Tennille Hay. She's forced wide though. Bogue supporting and looking to fashion a cross. And again, it all closed in oh so quickly around Abigail Bogue. We said in the first half, of course, how well organised and well drilled the Mariners have been defensively. Those 2 banks of 4 proving oh so difficult to break down, so compact as well. And once again, standing firm. The strike will come from the edge of the area. O'Brien, well, she had a long time to see it. It was Lane Knight who fizzed one in on target, again from the edge of the area, and it's a good-looking slide rule pass that from Tegan Jones, trying to unlock Gallagher. Gallagher will skip around Neville initially. Neville with a good recovering challenge, though. Clearance only finding Tegan Jones. Crossing to the area. Pentecost always favourite to reach it. Options on the bench, of course, for SD Raiders this evening, including Amelia Savetta and Abuk Nyor. I think it will only be a matter of time until we see one or perhaps both of them. They look to create some havoc going forward here. Flicked on towards Mandalay. Repelled initially as far as Maddie Malone. Jess Garrett will recover it for the Mariners, and all the way back to Kiara O'Brien just to calm things down. As we said earlier in the piece, Jess Garrett, such a calming influence in the centre of the park for the Mariners, who do so often attack with pace and width, and they're going centrally here. It's Scollay who's bustled her way past her opposite number 6 in Neville. Scollay, oof, testing the handling there of Natasha Pentecost, who passed that test with flying colours. Another save from Pentecost on Scollay. It was Scollay who came closest to breaking the deadlock in the first half. Few would bet against that tonight. Here's Ruth Hosey carrying it forward from the heart of defence, but blocked off by Mia Mastoris. Now Malone with an opportunity to turn. Almeida, Mastoris wide. Here is Tennille Hay, and well, Jess Garrett stealing across, covering from the heart of midfield onto this near touchline. It's a good challenge, but it's running to touch. Mastoris to hoist it back in. And then turned behind by Matilda Gallagher under the pressure of Tennille Hay. Will be yet another corner for the SD Raiders. No shortage of those tonight. They haven't been able to make it count so far. Variation on the corner this time. Malone back to the corner taker and then fizzed in near post. Bouncing around everywhere. Lane Knight sending it forward. Flag is up though. Just not quick enough in getting back. SD Raiders, and you can hear the coaching staff as well bemoaning the lack of urgency and the lack of intensity in dropping back for the second phase of play. Urgency and intensity is exactly what is required to break down what has been such a staunch and stingy Mariners defence so far in this one. Garrett head up and scanning and then slaloming through 1, 2 and 3. The whistle will go against Jess Garrett though. Was brought down but took a couple of SD Raiders players with her as well. Garrett just adjusting her socks as well. Smart bit of gamesmanship perhaps, in fact, from Jess Garrett that allows her teammates to drop back in and get their defensive shape sorted. As a proponent of the dark arts myself, don't mind seeing that. Here's Moller. He's dragged back by Maddie Malone. Not a bad free kick to give away, to be fair. We spoke about how dangerous the Mariners have been in transition. Attacking with real pace. That real spark getting forwards on the counter and hoisted back in by Gallagher towards Ava Moller. It's twisting and turning and trying to tie Mastoris in knots. Now it's Gallagher towards Garrett, but it was just a little too far ahead of Garrett. Hosey will step in and take control of the situation, but Ava Moller this time not dropping back. We might see a change here perhaps, yes indeed, for SD Raiders. Lane Knight looks to be taking her leave for the evening. She's got through an absolute mountain of work so far. And a big thank you to my cameraman Steve Roberts, who his eyes are certainly much better than mine in this sort of lighting. Confirming that Angelina Mastoris will enter the fray and take the place of Lane Knight. Like for like swap at the heart of defence for SD Raiders. Mastoris will operate at centre half next to Jess Neville. It is Neville to launch it forward and it bounces through very kindly for Tennille Hay into the area, pulled back into the area, into the 6-yard box, spilt a couple of times by O'Brien, and the Mariners survive just about, able to clear their lines and looking to go straight back up the other end through Peyton Scollay, who goes through the gears here, held up initially by Angelina Mastoris, and then Neville coming across to play covering defender. The two number 6s tussling for not the first time tonight. Free kick going the way of Jess Neville of the SD Raiders, of course. End-to-end stuff here at Plume Park towards Tennille Hay. It's a good piece of defending that from Tegan Jones to step in and steal body position. Now Garrett just rolls a foot over the ball. Thought she might have had the advantage there, perhaps, Jess Garrett, but we'll come back for the free kick. And a chance here for Tegan Jones to hoist it forward. In fact, it will be Ruth Hosey to alternate the angle. Bounces off a couple of defenders on the way through, including Jessica Neville, and all the way back to Pentecost, who will just play it back to the feet of Neville. Now, Mia Mastoris. Matilda Gallagher just affecting the half press and saying to Mia Mastoris, no avenues available going forward here. Forced to go back across the back four once more, SD Raiders. Garrett and Drysdale playing a bit of aerial tennis, and it falls here for Almeida. Sprays one out to the near touchline for Tennille Hay. Marshalled all the way once again by Tegan Jones. Final touch, in fact, off Tennille Hay as well. So Mariners throw in as the temperature drops here at Plume Park. The action's certainly heating up on the pitch. And Maddie Malone brought down in what is a fairly fascinating sort of area for SD Raiders. They've had no shortage of set pieces tonight, mostly corners of course, but this a chance for SD Raiders to whip something into the area from a different sort of angle, an alternate angle. Sharina Harris across to take, and I certainly think she fancies that back post sort of area to tail it away from Kiara O'Brien. Has to get the delivery right. Here's Sharina Harris. 2 in the wall. She will indeed flip it towards a penalty spot. It was a flat-driven sort of delivery. Repelled initially. Sharina Harris might just get another bite at it, though. Well, not if Bruce has anything to say about it, and she does. And then Matilda Gallagher slaloming and striding through 1 and 2. Pulled back initially, but she has the advantage here, Gallagher. She has options to her right, one of who is Moller. Just delayed for a fraction of a second too long there, Ava Moller, and SD Raiders with a chance to transition themselves. Well, no, Drysdale stepping in to take control of the situation. Now Jones. Tempo just rising there for a moment. Tennille Hay dropping back in. Back to Mastoris. Mia Mastoris, of course. Just calming it down. Once again, Neville. Across the back it goes to Angelina Mastoris. Forward towards Sharina Harris. And towards Bogue. Well, it might just bounce through here for Mandalay. Mandalay spotted O'Brien off the line. Oh, my word. What a finish that is from Sarah Mandalay. Dinking one over Kiara O'Brien. Very little the Mariners goalkeeper could do about that one. And a fitting way to break the deadlock here at Plume Park. Just as she did in round 1. It's taken a little bit longer this time. But the SD Raiders go ahead. Just about an hour or so gone here at Plume Park in this round 14 match of the rounds. And that was a sumptuous chip, it has to be said, from Sarah Mandalay. Expect to see that on the end of year highlights reel for Football New South Wales, I'm sure. Ball is in the Mariners' court now to respond. Still half an hour or so to go. They came from behind in round 1, of course, to take all 3 points against SD Raiders. And it was Mandalay who opened the scoring on that occasion. Will there be a few more twists and turns along the way in this one? Well, sure there will be. And SD Raiders now with their tails up. Merging centrally, it's good footwork. I think that was Moller. Couldn't quite stick the pass though. Scollay affecting the press. Angelina Mastoris just skips around her, calm as you like. Fresh legs, of course, for Angelina Mastoris, introduced about 10 or so minutes ago for Lane Knight, who had got through a mountain of work. Jess Garrett just got stuck under her feet momentarily, and SD Raiders might just have a chance to break here with Tennille Hay. He's bodied Ruth Hosey off it and won the throw as well. Hoisted back into Almeida. Back to goal, finding support in the form of Harris. Good ball this for Hay. Strike was blocked off, and Moller will look to launch a counter-attack. It's well read by Radmilo. Almeida now will pull the trigger from range. O'Brien had a long time to see it, and she's eager to get things back on the move. Kiara O'Brien. Ball forward from Jones, intended for Gallagher, picked out by Mia Mastoris. Harris, back to Angelina Mastoris now. After a few moments of chaos, SD Raiders might just look to play a bit of keep ball here and just settle back into their rhythm. Mia Mastoris. Well, I thought maybe there was a couple of passing lanes appearing for SD Raiders. Sharina Harris playing one into the half channel, or the half space. Skipped all the way through to O'Brien, and now it's Gallagher in turn looking to skip through and skip around the outside of Mia Mastoris, who recovers ever so efficiently and never able to affect the clearance. And now straight back up the other end they want to go through Tennille Hay. This ball is picked out. Hosey, it's a good looking ball forward as well to find Gallagher, but she just left it behind at the crucial moment. Now Almeida. Bogue. Twisting and turning and looking to stretch the pitch in the direction of Tennille Hay, but straight into touch it goes. And a chance for the Raiders to go to their bench once more. It will be a double change here. Mia Mastoris will take her leave for the evening, as will Sarah Mandalay, who is the difference so far in this one. A sumptuous chip over Kiara O'Brien from all of about 30 yards. A goal befitting of breaking the deadlock here in match of the round. Gallagher. Tennille Hay is absolutely touch tight, and it's going to break here for the substitute, Nior. Again, the Mariners defending in numbers, but again, it's going to pop out for Almeida. He's able to evade the attention of both Moller and Garrett. Driven into the area once again. Just a little too far ahead of the substitute there in Abuk Nur. Sporting the number 11, of course, for SD Raiders. The other substitute, of course, number 19 for SD Raiders, Brittany Duggan. Mariners yet to go to their bench. It is a fairly depleted bench for the home side this afternoon. Just the 5 players on it. But they do, of course, have Natalia O'Driscoll, who scored last time these two sides met, as well as Amber Ford, Bree Myers. All options for Greg Harch to consider as the Mariners chase the game here. There may, in fact, be a change enforced. Not the way that Greg Harch may have wanted it. So just trying to see who that is down receiving some treatment at the moment. Still about 25 or so minutes to go here at Plume Park, round 14. If you are just joining us, you're joining an absolutely fascinating battle between second and third on the ladder. Sarah Mandelay's chip from about 30 yards, the difference here. She has since been substituted. Replaced by Abuk Nyor. And now the Mariners with the corner, swinging it away from the goalkeeper and nodded towards goal in the end. It's a bit of chaos in the area. And once again, SD Raiders able to clear their lines, only as far as Garrett and then Brewster, who has her pocket picked by Tennille Hay. Harris trying to evade the danger of Scollay. Scollay didn't give up on it. Ruth Hosey tracking back, and I think it was Ruth Hosey who was actually down receiving some treatment, so she's back on the field now. Actually, no, it wasn't. My apologies. Mariners still down to 10 for the time being. They are readying a change from the looks of it. Was it Claire Denning, perhaps, who was down receiving some treatment? The fog starting to creep in here at Plume Park, making visibility very interesting indeed. As this is hoisted in. And then driven towards the near post where O'Brien was waiting with outstretched arms to pluck that one out of the evening sky. Regulation take for Kiara O'Brien, who will launch it up as far as halfway, and it's going to come straight back at them here through Nyor. Driving into the area here is Nyor. Blocked off once again. And then Gallagher dropping back in to complete the clearance by carrying it forward, striding forward and going through the gears here is Gallagher. And then Sharina Harris with a wonderful covering tackle. In fact, it wasn't even a tackle. She just got body position ahead of Gallagher there and allowed it to run out of play. The Mariners will go to the bench for the first time this evening as Ava Moller takes her leave. I'll bring you confirmation of that change in just a moment. As Duggan gets us back underway. It's Natalia O'Driscoll, who's just come off the bench for the Mariners, of course, in place of Ava Moller. So looking like it will be a fairly like-for-like swap, of course. As we said, O'Driscoll on the score sheet last time these two sides met. SD Raiders with the ascendancy on the scoreboards. They had field position for a moment there, but desperation stuff to try and win the ball back, and referee coming across to say, that's your last warning, perhaps. The Mariners looking to perhaps catch the Raiders out here. He's just a little bit behind Matilda Gallagher and stretching to try and bring it under her spell. Just out into touch on just about the halfway line. Neville. Forward it goes for Harris on halfway, and they'll just go back to Angelina Mastoris. Now Almeida. Surrounded by two Mariners players. And turning it over, and this is an interesting looking ball towards Scollay. Just a little too far ahead of Peyton Scollay though. Tennille Hay left it behind. Jones winning it back and combining with Gallagher, and now it's Scollay. Head up and scanning, assessing the options. Opts to keep possession through Brewster. Scollay turns into the half space there, but found offside. need to try and find a way to get someone like Peyton Scollay into the game a little bit more here, perhaps the Mariners, but coming forward is Tennille Hay. That's a wonderful ball. She pulls it back into the area towards Nyor. The strike will come at the end of it as well from Radmilo. Perhaps ambitious, but still SD Raiders restricted to shooting from outside the area so far. But it has proved profitable for them on the scoreboard so far. As we said, Sarah Mandalay from about 30 yards. And it was going to take something special to open the scoring, and indeed it was. Gallagher, first touch, just took it a little bit away from her. Jones will recover. Marshalled all the way by Tennille Hay, who's been so busy this evening. Now Harris able to turn on halfway. Her advance is halted by O'Driscoll, who's able to link up with Gallagher here, and she just left it behind. Allowed Duggan to steal in there. Nyor just opting to play short to Almeida. With a wonderful first touch as well to take her away from Brewster initially, and then brought down by Jones, but referee unmoved. Raking crossfield ball here for the Mariners. One-on-one with Radmilo, and, well, it was a cross-come shot, really. The call coming across from the Mariners coaching staff. They want that ball to come in a little bit earlier before the Raiders are able to get their shape back. They have proved difficult to break down themselves, of course, particularly in this second half as well. Half-time, maybe allowing the Raiders to regroup, recharge, and they certainly have seemingly been re-energised in this second stanza. No doubt buoyed by that goal. It separates the sides, of course. And they keep the ball moving here as well. Trying for a bit of verticality there towards Nyor, but it's all the way through to O'Brien. Drysdale launching one forwards. Over the top it goes. O'Driscoll. O'Driscoll might just go herself here, you know, and it rolls across the face of goal. Was that O'Driscoll or was it Denning, I think? Well, I'll have to come back to you on that one in just a moment. In fact, no, my apologies. That's Jordan Drysdale all the way forward from right fullback. Just needed someone attacking that ball, really. Tennille Hay now on halfway. Looking to spray one out to the far touchline. Cleaned up initially and now picked up by Montana Rose Curry. Forward it goes. Drysdale. Sliding challenge to attempt to block the pass, but it bounces out oh so kindly here for Scollay. Now Jones. Gallagher. Flags up on the far touchline. Gallagher certainly looked like she was lingering just behind the line of the SD Raiders defenders there, and move breaking down before it even really got going, I should say. Sharina Harris. Forward was intended, I should say. My apologies for Nyor. Montana Rose Curry will race back to retrieve it. Sprayed out towards Gallagher. Good first touch to lay it off to the path of the on-rushing Tegan Jones, who's got a couple of yards to maybe fashion something here. Well, not for long. Tennille Hay has been up and down that touchline all night. About 15 or so minutes remain here at Plume Park. This one so finely poised. It pops out here for Ruth Hosey. who assesses the options in front and measures a swinging ball into the area. And it's relatively comfortably dealt with, nodded back to Pentecost. And they immediately look to launch one forward towards Muir. Well cut out. O'Driscoll spinning, twisting, turning, and then being somewhat unceremoniously dumped to the deck by Radmillo. In fairness, if you're going to commit a foul, that's probably the kind of place where you want to do it, particularly you've got someone of the ilk of Natalia O'Driscoll looming large and posing a threat. Now, this is hoisted in towards Gallagher. Stretching was Duggan. Chested down towards the path of Gallagher and SD Raiders. Repel it once more. Hay trying to launch one forward immediately. Hosey gets there at the first attempt, and then Jess Garrett stepping in to calm things down. Garrett will have it back centrally. Handy looking ball out on the far touchline. Well, the flag is up. A few complaints from the Mariners faithful, so suggestion being made, of course, that Claire Denning just going a fraction early there. Muir dropping in between the lines. Harris. Mastoris, that's a good looking touch as well to find Almeida. Can't quite bring it under her spell though. Out into touch on that far touch line where the fog is really rolling in. So typical of Plume Park, of course, scenes that we're so used to seeing. Would it really be Plume Park without the creeping fog? The Mariners now will look to go to their bench once more. Matilda Gallagher, who's toiled hard this evening, taking her leave as they try and find a response here, the Central Coast. No strangers to comeback victories, of course, so far this season. Confirmation on that change, Bree Myers straight into the action immediately. Now it's Brewster. Myers stretching to reach it, brings it under her spell, but only finds Tennille Hay with the pass, and then Myers with the fresh legs dropping back to try and make a recovering challenge on Hay. Oh, she's won it back as well. Taken off the toe of Hay, and then Hay with a decent enough recovering challenge to force the corner. Tennille Hay has got through an absolute mountain of work and then some tonight. I'm tired just watching her. She's done well to recover there, but again, at the expense of a corner. Chances few and far between for the Mariners in this half. And it looks like they're going to get a second chance at the corner here. Certainly need to try and make this count. They need to get the delivery right. As it's swung in high and deep towards the back post area. Garrett will recover. One-on-one with her opposite number 2 here in Harris. Garrett, and Harris wins that battle. Taking it off the toe of Garrett as she looked to swivel into the area. Mariners able to scramble their defence back. Playing it into touch on the far touch line, allowing them to get their lines reset, get their shape back. Lauren Neville now. My apologies, Jessica Neville, of course. It is Neville who hoists it forwards, nodded down by Hay towards Muir. Picked up centrally by Harris. And then Malone. Handy looking ball this. Twisting and turning is Bogue on the edge of the area, and she's dragged back by Drysdale. absolutely had her hands full there, Jordan Drysdale, and a free kick here in an absolutely tantalising sort of position. Quite central and plenty of room to get the up and down over the wall here. Meeting of the minds over the ball between Harris and Almeida. Will it be the left foot of Tayana Almeida or the right foot of Harris? Almeida leaves it. It is Harris. It's a good strike and it's matched by an even better save by Kiara O'Brien. It was just sneaking in under that crossbar. O'Brien may have seen it late coming directly from behind the wall. She's done well to reach up and tip that one over the bar and keep it at 1-0. Just had a look at the replay on the monitor here at Plume Park. It was absolutely creeping in. May have taken a bit of paint off the underside of the crossbar on the way through. Had Kiara O'Brien not been so snappy to reach up and push it over. Good save. But the SD Raiders will have another chance here. Another opportunity from the corner to perhaps seal this one. It swings away from the goalkeeper. And it's headed behind again. Final 9 or so minutes here at Plume Park. Here in round 14, match of the round. In the League One women's competition. Harris swings it deeper this time. Nodded forwards. Almeida. That one casting no real shadow on Kiara O'Brien's goal. Mariners want to get on with it quickly, but SD Raiders want to make a couple of changes. Radmilo will take her lead for the evening. It's going to cause a defensive reshuffle as well from the looks of it. Tennille Hayes been pulled back into what looks like centre half now. Olga Gustaratos will operate in the space vacated by Hay on this near touchline. Myers, good strength from Myers and able to dig it out and find Peyton Scollay advancing now. Pulled towards the top of the box. Good save from Pentecost. It had to be as well. Scollay pulling it back towards the top of the box where O'Driscoll was lurking. You have to give a huge amount of credit to Bree Myers, who forced her way through. O'Driscoll drawing a very good save indeed out of Pentecost, who keeps it at 1-0. Keeps her side in the lead. Hasn't had a huge amount to do in this second half, has Pentecost, but she's been reliable when called upon. Proving to be the difference there. Confirmation on that other change. It looks like Amelia Savetta is on, the number 9. For the SD Raiders. But the Mariners have a chance to hoist this one into the area. Nearly everyone back defending this for the Raiders as it swung in right on top of Pentecost, who once again passes that test with flying colours. Defending in numbers, of course, the Raiders. The only player forward was Muir on halfway. Maybe a recurring theme here as they look to get forward rapidly. Towards Muir it goes. One-on-one with Drysdale. Drysdale does well. Savetta will pick up the scraps and skip around a couple into the area towards Muir. Muir! Good save initially from O'Brien. She has to recover quickly. It's absolute chaos on the goal line there. O'Brien recovered quickly enough, but now Bogue will recycle through Harris. Mastoris, Angelina Mastoris, of course, now back through Hay and Neville. Near touchline now. Duggan. One-on-one with Myers, and Duggan wins the throw. Final touch off Myers. And we are going to see another Mariners change coming up here. Tegan Jones, who's had a very busy evening indeed, of course, up against Tennille Hay for much of it. Who's since shifted to centre half, I should say. Versatility on display. Bounce pass there, offered, and straight back to Duggan it goes. Now, Muir. Handball spotted. Jess Garrett thought she may have had the advantage there as she looked to turn. Hoisted forwards. Well, it was too far ahead of Peyton Scollay. He just watched it sail over her head in the end. Confirmation on that change for the Mariners, of course. Amber Ford now on as they look to chase this one. May also see a bit of a defensive reshuffle here. They may go to three at the back, in fact, the Coast. We'll see how it plays out. Ruth Hosey stretching to intercept. Harris twisting and turning and evading the attention of her opposite, number 2 in Garrett. They're able to work it across the pitch here very effectively indeed. Savetta. Good strength initially from Savetta, and she'll win the throw in as well. Into the final knockings of this one here at Plume Park. Just about 3 or so minutes remaining in regulation time. Maybe a minute or two of time added on. We did see there was a Mariners player down receiving some treatment earlier in the half. Myers has just left that one behind as she looked to stride forwards. Could prove costly. Bogue couldn't quite reach it. Stretching once again to intercept is Brewster, who's nearly out on her feet, you know. Annalise Brewster operated in the heart of that midfield alongside Jess Garrett. Both of whom have got through a mountain of work, of course. Often the focal point of the Mariners' transitions as they go central and then split wide. Scollay linking up nicely indeed with Jess Garrett. She's continued to run forward here as well, Scollay. It will pop out for Garrett now, who has to dig it out from under her feet and then try and skip past 1 and 2. There's a couple of little afters there as well. Frustration on display, and she may just get a talking to as well here. Good refereeing, just to let the situation develop. Wait for a stoppage and then just have a word to calm the players down. Mariners will have another throw in on this near touchline. Scollay hoists it back in towards O'Driscoll. Sliding challenge is a good one. Ball and all, old school centre half challenge from Tennille Hay, who spent the first 80 or so minutes up and down the touchline and then showing her defensive wares at the expense of a corner, though. Inside the final minute of regulation time here at Plume Park, as this one is swung in high and deep again. Pops out here for Hosey with the strike, blocked off initially. Absolute sea of green behind the ball, and they launch one forward towards Muir. It's taken off her toe almost immediately. The Mariners want to get it forward. They need to get it forward. And Brewster tries to carry it forward, and again she's blocked off. It's Mastoris, Angelina Mastoris, of course. They'll win the throw on the far touchline as well, the Raiders, and they won't be in any real sort of hurry to take it, of course. Savetta twisting and turning and evading the attention of a couple. able to free up a couple of yards of space to link up with a teammate, and then it's eventually hoisted forward to Niort. Final touch off, I think it may have been Drysdale on the far touch line. And time perhaps getting away from the Mariners in this one. Time is of course against them. Into added time, of which I'm sure there won't be all too much. For the SD Raiders, I'm sure it will feel like an eternity. For the Mariners, it will feel like it's all evaporating oh so quickly. We do have another Mariners player down in Claire Denning as well. They want to get her back to her feet quickly. And they do just so. So dangerous in the first half was Claire Denning. She's been effectively marshalled so far in this second, a little bit more subdued. Ford clipping it forward towards Scolle, who's racing after this one and keeps Pentecost honest. Smart goalkeeping, Natasha Pentecost. Read the situation and quickly off her line to snuff out the danger from Peyton Scolle. Nodded forward by Hosey. Just running out of real estate on the near touch line. She thinks, I thought that she may have won the throw, but she's just very eager to hand the ball back to Duggan, who will hoist it back into play. It's off the back of Hosey, who just lost it in the light for a moment. Well, just seeing if we have any sort of update from the Hills United game, but depending on the result in that one, SD Raiders could potentially finish round 14 on equal points with the ladder leaders. If this result is to stand, and it seems more and more likely as the seconds tick by, that will be the case. Undone by an absolute wonder strike by Sarah Mandalay. And SD Raiders once again in no hurry to take the throw. They do eventually hoist it back in. They're sent straight back up into the night sky here at Plume. Perhaps one last roll of the dice here for the Mariners. Garrett looks to clip one out. Bree Myers, again, no avenues forward available for her. Hosey, it's great tracking back by Niort, and it falls very kindly here for Mastoris. Bit of an aimless pass forward, but they just want to try and release that pressure valve, the SD Raiders. The Mariners' main threats have come in transition. But it's the SD Raiders now, with perhaps one last chance, as it swung in towards Niort, picked out just before it reaches her. The Mariners want to get it straight back up the other end. They need to get it straight back up the other end, and that's a cynical sort of foul. Well, perhaps a professional foul, and an easy yellow card to give for Maddie Malone. And you know what? The cynic in me says it's probably a smart foul. As the Mariners, as we said, so dangerous in transition. Sometimes there's only one way to halt it. And that will be that here at Plume Park. A professional performance from second v third. Both sides so well drilled, so well organised. The Mariners had, perhaps it's fair to say, the better of the first half, but the SD Raiders came out of the sheds energised, refocused. And it was Sarah Mandalay's wonder goal from about 30 yards. The most delicious of chips. Absolutely sumptuous, sailing over the heads of the Mariners goalkeeper, Kiara O'Brien. Just one goal to show for it, but no shortage of entertainment here in Match of the Round at Plume Park. The Mariners will be back at home next weekend, Sunday, the 8th of June at 5 o'clock as they play host to Camden Tigers. SD Raiders will have a chance for a bit of a break as they have the bye next weekend. Absolute pleasure having your company, as it always is, this evening from Plume Park. But from me, Pete Pryor, I'll see you all next time. It's bye for now.